watch this?
How?
Ew,
How do you watch this?
Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Hi, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week we recommend a movie in the genre we love, but they don't. My name is Megan, and I love romance.
My name is Demi, and I love horror.
And this week, I had Demi watch the amazing, critically acclaimed AFI number 3 or something, I don't know, movie, Ghost.
Classic.
Ghost. Yep. Whew, big feelings after watching it. I just finished it last night, and first of all, let me tell you, it is horrible to watch it on Pluto TV. There were so many ads. Probably an extra 30 minutes was added to my watch time. It didn't end until almost 10 o'clock at night.
And it's a long movie, too.
Yeah,
it's 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a long movie, and then it had ads on top of it, and I was not pleased.
It really takes you out, you know?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, not to give away too much too soon, but I was literally sobbing hysterically, and then a meatball commercial popped up on screen.
Oh my god, I am gonna be controversial. I did not cry at all, and I really thought I was.
Yeah.
And I think there's just certain things about the movie that made me
pull
me out.
Dude, I understand, and we're gonna talk about those things because they pulled me out as well, and I shocked myself by how hard I cried.
It's sad. It like really genuinely, we'll talk about like towards the end I was like, man, I'm really upset, and there's really sweet moments, but
there's also plenty of moments
plenty
where you're
of
like
BS. Okay, I think it's just it has a lot of cheese, and I don't know if it's because it's a 90s movie or if the director had a vision, and he did direct the movie Airplane, which shocked me. I was like, really? Okay.
And his brother directed, what was that? Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Or something.
Which I found out Brett's never seen any of those movies.
What?
And I was like, Brett, the humor in those movies is so you. Like, what do you mean?
Yes.
He's never seen any of those.
That's shocking.
Which is insane. They're so good. So we're going to have to spend the day watching all of those. So anyway, not to go to that. I want to guess the thread. So I had 2 ideas.
Okay.
One was both feature a ghost. And the other was both feature shitty sculptist.
It is the first one. I kept it simple. It features a ghost, but you are right. It does feature shitty sculptists.
I was like, wait a second. These sculptures.
Didn't even click on that. But yeah, there were some bad sculptures. And I feel like this movie hits different being... I watched it for the first time in high school. Yeah. And I did art, but I wasn't like, I didn't consider myself an artist. And now that I'm older and I consider myself an artist, I'm like...
I mean, it's New Yorker art, abstract type of sculpting.
Yeah, but also just like...
And I know they don't emphasize, but it seems like she's not a very successful artist.
Yeah. Yes.
And not to rip on Molly, I think she's a great character, but...
No, I mean, also, he's a finance bro, and she's the artsy one, and it doesn't... You don't really get much of her backstory, but...
No, at all. And she is kind of just... She's kind of just there. She's like a plot device, which is a little unfortunate, because I think she's so cute, and I know I ripped on her haircut when we were watching the trailer, but, you know, it grew on me.
Yeah,
like,
well, do you know, the director didn't know that she was going to do that to her hair.
Oh, no.
He hired her with long hair, and she showed up with the bob.
Was this after G.I. Jane? Because G.I. Jane, she had a buzz cut in the movie. I wonder if this was...
What year was G.I. Jane?
Let's see. It's an older one, too. 1997, and this was 1990.
Yeah, so this is...
So I feel like it had to be because of that.
Yeah.
G.I. Jane's good, by the way.
Okay, I've never seen it. So.
She's a woman in the military and has to deal with that. So
ooh, you go, girl.
You go, girl. Girl power. Anyway, this movie is a 1990 film directed by Jerry Zucker. It is drama, romance, got a little bit of humor, thanks to the charming Whoopi Goldberg. And it is
and
rated...
a little bit of thrill. You know, it's a little
some thrill, mystery.
It's got them all.
It's got everything. It's got a little bit of everything. It is rated PG-13, and it is 2 hours, 8 minutes long.
Oof.
So
it was longy.
It was long. I was like, oh, I feel like it could have been a little shorter, but
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, especially me starting it at 6 o'clock at night and not going to bed until. Anyway.
That's Pluto.
Yeah.
I need to stop recommending Pluto, but I
Well,
think the
it's
next
free,
movie.
so...
I know the next movie I'm recommending is also on Pluto, so also somewhere else where you can watch it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the movie to discuss.
Yes.
It starts and we meet banker Sam Wheat, who's played by Patrick Swayze, who
could only be a banker could only be the hero in a movie in the 90s because now immediate red flag.
Right, it's like, oh, he's a corporate man. Ew.
He's a finance guy.
And he just does not look like a finance guy. He's got the sharpest jawline ever.
Yeah.
He's like a Greek god, and he's just a banker.
No.
Okay, unrealistic.
No,
in
only
New York.
Pretty boys are bankers. It's like, you gotta have a pointy chin, like you know, round face.
You have to look
and a pointy chin.
look a little sleazy, right?
Yeah.
So we meet him and his girlfriend Molly Jensen, who's played by Demi. They move into a Manhattan loft with the help of Sam's friend and coworker Carl. Carl. Molly and Sam are super in love, and they're super in love with question marks. I wrote in here, and I say that because when Molly says "I love you," he says "ditto."
I knew you'd hate that.
And
fair enough.
I was like,
no, yes, agreed. And there's like this comes up. I felt like, well, first of all, I did want to say they do this thing that I would, if you did this in front of me, I would probably kick you because she jumped in front of Carl. Molly jumps into Patrick Swayze's arms and starts like kissing on him. And if you did that to Bray in front of me, we wouldn't be friends anymore. Like,
I would be impressed by the sheer strength.
I mean,
of a man to lift me or you up. You know, because I see these movies and I'm like, it's not realistic. I don't know, maybe because I got some curves, but we're not lifting women up like that.
Not that effortlessly, like
like a feather. I can't even pick up Diego that well.
No.
Oh, what was I gonna say?
Sorry. So,
but if you were dating Patrick Swayze though,
okay. I mean, yeah, fair enough.
I'd allow it. I want you to be happy.
Thank you.
Anyway, so he says ditto, and there's a scene he talks about how when everything's going well in his life, he's scared he's going to lose it. Something bad's going to happen. So I think part of him not saying I love you outwardly is that feeling that it's going to make it real and everything's too good to be true. So he just says ditto, and he loves her. He does love her. But me, I don't know how I feel moving in with a man who's never said I love you. I would be a little concerned. But also, if I was a struggling artist and needed that money, that daddy money, you know, they got a huge loft in Manhattan. It's not too bad.
I mean, that loft sold in 2015 for $10 million.
Oh my God. So, it's huge. It's stunning. I love it. Gigantic. I was in love with it. And Sam's a bit of a freak too.
I don't know.
There's a lot of pluses here, so.
Yeah. Right? I don't know that he's never ever said I love you. She just said you never say it.
Yeah.
Like, which could just mean, oh, you just don't say it often.
Yeah,
you
that's
say it
true.
every once in a while. Which, I mean, it sounds just like he's a little emotionally closed off in certain ways, which no one's perfect. Like, everyone, you know, he probably could go with a little therapy.
Yeah.
But Not surprising. Most leading men need therapy.
That's
get it. So
yeah, he is a banker. So
yeah, exactly.
So freaky Sam in the middle of the night, Molly's sculpting on her. I mean, everyone knows this scene, right?
Yeah,
She's on her spinning wheel. And at first I'm like, this is so lame, it's so cheesy. Yeah. But I'm watching this scene, I'm like, she just got hot. Oh, I see the vision? Okay. He's behind her, and she's gripping the clay, and it's phallic looking, and, of course, and he's rubbing on her arms, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting hot and bothered. Holy shit, this is hot.
We are so different. This is my hot take.
Give it to me.
Every time I watch the Pottery Scene,
yes,
I get livid.
Well, I mean, you do sculpting, right? So
so she's there making her pot, right? He comes up behind her and just starts touching it.
She could have stopped him. She could have stopped him.
But like, what's with him just tapping it and it falls over? And he's like, I hope it wasn't a masterpiece. And she's like, well, it can't be now. And I would have been like,
listen.
I would have turned around and there would be clay on face. Not from a slap, but I would have rubbed it in his face. Like, this is what you get. And then I get, maybe I could, if I'm putting myself in.
Let's set the stage, right? It's like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
She can't sleep, right? Yeah. She's wearing nothing but this loose shirt. She definitely doesn't have underwear on. Yeah. It's white. He shows up. He's topless. He's kind of sleepy. He's just sitting behind her. Listen, all right, okay.
You sold me. I can see why it would be kind of hot in that.
If it was the middle of the day, middle of the day, I'm actually working. I've had cooking. I'm cooking, and Brett will come up behind me and like, it's like Ghost.
Travis does that too.
And hold my hand, and I'm like, stop.
Yes.
So in that, in a different situation, but if you like,
okay. Agreed, because
2 a.m. freakiness.
Yes. Since we've watched this movie together in high school, Travis has always tried to ghost me in various situations in our life with, like, you and Brett, when I'm cooking, when I'm doing any normal task. He's like, it's romantic. And I'm like, I can do this by myself. Thank you. Please leave.
Thanks.
But you're correct. At the 2 a.m., when you are very sleepy and you're getting little feathery touches and there's a little bit of,
the ghost pottery scene could happen at the right time, but men just don't. They just don't get it.
They don't have the timing.
No, the timing's off. Mm-hmm. Only Patrick Swayze would know. R.I.P.
Yeah, that's true. I know. A king.
I just kept thinking of him in Dirty Dancing, and I'm like, I almost threw it on after watching it.
I almost gave it to you for our next one. I was this close, and I was like, It's
my favorite romance movie.
Okay, well, we are gonna watch it at some point. It's just that I was like, okay, I can't do 2 Swayzes in a row because first of all, that's not fair to my relationship.
Not trying to break relationships here. That's valid. Yeah. And if it's in a little bit, you can treat me to that.
I will. I should have for the next one because it is going to be your birthday, but
oh yeah, that's okay. Oof. I'll watch it
another time.
It's fine.
Maybe we should watch it together. Since it's your favorite romance, we should watch it together.
Oh yeah,
I think that might be fun.
That would be fun, and we just have to figure out what your favorite horror movie is. I'm sure you got one.
What? One that would make me feel what you feel in Dirty Dancing? Unlikely. You're not gonna see me kicking my feet while watching Psycho, but maybe it's Psycho, I guess. Psycho's a good one. I've seen it twice, so that's more than any other.
Yeah.
I mean, Alien, obviously. That shit's good, but I'm trying to think of one you haven't given me for the podcast, and hello, choices.
You think on it.
I will.
So they're fooling around. It's Speed. Point Break, Keanu and Patrick.
Don't know. I don't know that
my god. Oh, girl. literally, they're surfing. It's like like a
Ooh, they're
bromance.
surfers?
Yes.
Oh.
I can't even give you that movie. It's no horror at all. It's just pure bromance. And it's beautiful. I'm changing it up. I just recommend Patrick Swayze movies.
Yes, this is a Patrick Swayze podcast. We
He deserves it.
call ourselves Crazy for Swayze.
Crazy for Swayze. We'll just do like little extra episodes. Crazy for Swayze. Okay. We have to focus.
We're 5
We
minutes
are.
into the movie.
It's like nothing into this movie. So they're fooling around, and then they do it, and I guess they cleaned their hands first. I would have just kept going.
Travis, of course, was in here, and he's like, magically hands are clean. I was like, you know what? Whatever. They did their little cleanup time. It's fine.
I swore I remember them having sex at the wheel, but I guess I made that up in my own fantasy.
You definitely made that up in your fantasy, because apparently they had originally thought of doing a dirty deeds sort of situation, and then the director, it was decided that it was better for it to be more of an emotional connection and more like a little bit sensual than for them to go full balls to the wall.
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Give the people what they want.
So it's a very sensual. It's sweet. It's a sweet moment. He gets a good grip on her ass, though. I was like, I never washed that ass again. Ooh, goodness. So then after this wonderful moment together, they eventually go out to watch a theater show, and then there's a mugger, and he has a gun. They're attacked, and Sam and the mugger are like tussling it out, and a shot rings out, and the mugger's running off, and then Sam immediately runs off after him, and he only gets so far before he looks back and sees Molly cradling his corpse, and he realizes he is dead and a ghost.
Horrible. You know it's gonna happen, but horrible.
I know. And I'm like watching, and I'm like, see, me in this situation, I have my mace. And I would have been Brett would have got it too. But I'm like spraying. I'm spraying. And I'm grabbing that gun. I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy out here.
But also, I mean, this maybe I don't know, people were just too brave back then. But if someone has a gun, and you know this, you've been held at gunpoint. If someone has a gun, you say, here you go.
Yeah, because it was, I mean, we'll get more into it. But yeah, a mugger's coming up to you with a gun, just give him the wallet, call it a day, right? Like, that's, I'm not going to fucking try and defense a gun out of the way. But if, you know, something were to happen, if they got, I don't know, anything, they got distracted, I don't know, maybe if you knew some sort of self-defense you could, but don't fucking try and fight a man with a gun.
No.
At all. Don't do that.
No, because he wasn't supposed to die.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know what happened in that situation.
Ridiculous. And I don't remember what I knew back when I first watched it, because it was so long ago now at this point. But I just feel like I was shook that's how he died.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's how you go.
Batman's parents style.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's dead now. A bright light shines down for him, and he decides to walk back to Molly instead of walking towards the light, and the light disappears. So now, as a ghost, Sam remains by Molly's side, but he's unable to interact with the physical world. And he does meet and see other ghosts, but they're mostly unhelpful. They're just kind of like wandering around and shit. And then later, the mugger breaks into the house again after their friend Carl convinces Molly to take a walk outside because she's just been secluding herself, which is fair. I don't know how much time has passed. I don't think a lot at all since he was killed. But the mugger comes into the house and he's looking for something. And so Molly then returns unexpectedly and she goes into the room. And so Sam's trying to protect Molly, and he notices that their cat is able to see Sam. So he scares the cat, and the cat ends up jumping at the mugger and scratching him. So then the mugger flees. And I just want to say the cat was just vibing the scene, like between, just like so happy. And I'm like, I just know my cats were just not.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey, intruder, what's up?
Oh, hi. They'd be scared as shit. So luckily Molly is not killed. So then Sam ends up following the mugger to see where he goes. And he jumps into a subway train, and there's a creepy, violent ghost on there.
Really angry one who's really obsessed with trains.
Yeah, and he's like, get out, this is my train. Yeah. And he's able to, because at first I was like, what the fuck was that scene about?
Yeah.
And then I realized that he's able to physically touch things and move things around in the physical world. So that's going to come into play later. Yeah. But he ends up kicking Sam out of the train. And Sam's still following the mugger back to his apartment. We learn his name is Willie Lopez, and we love the Hispanic representation. And Sam learns...
Except for when it's the bad guy. Of course, he's the bad guy. I'm watching this, I'm like, of course, it's a man of color.
Obviously. It's of course. So, Sam learns that he was actually targeted, and after listening to Willie talking to someone on the phone. So things are escalating.
Yes.
Sam then encounters Oda Mae Brown, who's played by Whoopi Goldberg, and she's the star of the movie. She's so funny in this movie.
She is.
Oh my god.
It could be the Whoopi Goldberg show. It was
and she just brought such a charming feel to this character too. Like I feel like she really kind of carried a lot of the movie. She's just so fun. And so she is a charlatan psychic, and he's watching her, and she's obviously just tricking people for money, and he's making jokes and comments, and she's hearing him. And so once he realizes that she can hear him, he demands that she help with warning Molly that, he was killed and someone planned it. Yeah. So she's reluctant at first, but Sam ends up keeping her awake with his singing, and it drives her crazy. She's like, fine, I'll do it. So, and she also can't see him. She could just only hear him. So, despite the knowledge of Sam and Molly's relationship, Oda Mae struggles to convince Molly that Sam is with her, and she hears Sam. And the only way she was able to convince her is by saying ditto, which is what Molly knows from Sam. Yeah. And so then Molly ends up going to the police to tell them about Willie, and she also tells this to Carl, the coworker, who's been hanging around and checking on Molly and being a little creepy.
Yeah, it's hard because like at first it's he's being a good friend, he's watching out for her.
Right.
It's like
back
it up. Take a few steps backwards.
Yeah, some boundaries are being crossed here. So the police dismiss the story and end up showing Molly an extensive history of fraud from Oda Mae and saying, this is who you're talking to. And so Molly's disheartened, thinking that like, okay, well, she's lying to me. This is all fake. So meanwhile, Sam ends up following Carl and learns that he hired Willie to rob Sam of his book of bank passwords, which is fucking crazy that Sam would just have this tiny book of important passwords
on him at all times.
Jesus, the 90s were crazy.
They were wild.
And he had really big clients, like millions of dollars. This wasn't just anyone at a bank. So Carl needs the passwords to launder $4 million in drug money. And
which we don't get any, we never find out where this is a 2-hour-long movie, and we don't, I don't know, just drug money.
Just drugs. It seems like he owes people money.
Yeah.
And that's the most we get.
He's supposed to get 80,000 of that money himself. So
it's in an account held by a fictional Rita Miller. Carl ends up breaking into Molly's apartment himself, finds the book, and then later attempts to kind of seduce her. He's like,
oh my god, that was an awful scene. Yeah.
Okay. Other than Sam dying, this is my deleted scene, because I'm like, ew, like what? And he's obviously a sleazebag, but it's like you could have been a sleazebag without trying to take Molly too. Yeah. Come on, dude.
That part was, I don't know. It could have been, I don't know. It's just out of nowhere, kind of, where he just starts really hitting on her and just get, I don't know.
I don't think they needed that really at all. Yeah. I don't know. And also,
I know why they did it though. They wanted to make him even more villainous than he was. That's really what it comes down to, is they wanted to make him, not only was he doing drugs or involved in drugs, but he's laundering money, and he wanted his friend to get mugged for that, and his friend gets killed in the way, but don't feel bad for him because now he's going to try to take his friend's girl.
Yeah, I think they could have done that a little differently, but it's true. I guess they just didn't want you to like Carl at all, which is fair, but it's also kind of sad because I'm like, Molly doesn't seem to have any friends, and now this dude is like, hey girl, what's up? And I'd be fucking pissed.
Yes, exactly.
So he's doing this, and Sam, enraged because he's watching this happen, inadvertently knocks over a picture frame, which interrupts the attempted seduction. And so then Sam returns to that subway train and convinces that violent ghost he encountered the first time how to interact with the physical world. So he's like, I just was able to do it. I need to know how to do it. And so the ghost claims that you need to bottle up all your emotions, doesn't matter what, but you have to use that to end up to push and move things around in the physical world. And so Sam's able to learn this. And then we get a little backstory of this ghost where he was pushed and killed by a train, and so he's just, I guess, an upset spirit haunting the trains, which is kind of sad. But
and I thought we were gonna get I forgot about him, and then I thought we were gonna get a redemption arc. Maybe Patrick Swayze saves him in the end, but that's it.
Nope, he's just forever
sad guy.
Yeah, forever haunting the train. So then Sam ends up going back to Oda Mae, who is now very popular with ghosts because she's now hearing all kinds of ghosts, not just Sam. And so her office is filled with a bunch of ghosts trying to talk to their living family members. And one of the ghosts even manages to temporarily possess her body, which freaks her out, of course.
Yeah.
And so Sam ends up convincing her, Oda Mae, to pose as Rita Miller to withdraw the drug money. And this is successful. She's able to do that. And Sam makes her donate it to charity, which he just says because this could be traced to her. It can get her, which is fair. Like, this is blood money. But she's very upset about it because it's $4 million. And me, I'm like, oh, you could just start running. Sam might not be able to catch up.
I mean, even if he could, he's a ghost. If he's going to bother you all the time, whatever. But,
I'd exorcise him.
Yeah, there you
Get
go.
him out of this plane of existence.
Listen, I keep 1 million, I'll donate 3.
Yeah. Right. So she ends up donating it. And at this point, so when they were at the bank, Molly does witness Oda Mae there, and she sees her there. And so she asks the banker they were working with if that was Oda Mae Brown. He's like, no, what was she doing here? And he's like, oh, that was Rita Miller taking out whatever. I don't think you're supposed to be sharing this information, but I guess because she's married to Sam Wheat, who worked there, I guess.
They're like, we'll spill all the deets.
Yeah, so
you want her social? Because we'll give you that too.
Right, so Molly's now like, oh, so this is Rita, so another lie. It's all coming full circle.
Yeah.
So Carl ends up coming to Molly's house, and he's in a panic over the missing money and the death threats, but he's also asking about Sam and a haunting because Sam was fucking with him in the office and writing murder on the computer and wrote his name.
Sam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would freak me out for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So Carl's freaking out. And then
he's super sweaty. And not in
super
a good
gross.
Way. Yeah.
Super gross. Not hot sweat. No. And Molly ends up saying that, Oda Mae was fake. Her name's actually Rita Miller. And she saw her at the bank earlier. So then Carl's like, oh my fucking God. Yeah. So then Molly goes upstairs to get him Pepto-Bismol for his tum-tum. And Sam ends up fucking around with Carl at the house. And Carl then threatens to murder Molly if the money's not returned that night. Fully believing that Sam is around and ruining everything.
Yes. Yep.
So then Carl and Willie travel to go confront Oda Mae to get the money, but luckily Sam warns her in time, so she is able to go and hide. So then Sam goes to terrorize Willie, and Willie flees into the road and is struck and killed by a car. And then, like, shadow figures. This was creepy.
Yeah.
They're like howling, and they grab Willie and drag him away. So it's like heaven or hell situation.
Right. And apparently, now I could not find, and did not look very hard to find, confirmation. But that is the sound of babies crying played slowly and in reverse.
Oh my God. It was creepy, especially like at the end. I was like, this could have been a horror romance with just that alone. Because I was a little creeped out.
It was definitely creepy.
So that happens. Oda Mae and Sam return to Molly's apartment, where he ends up levitating a penny to convince her that he's really there. Because earlier they found a penny and in their house, and Sam said it was good luck. So it's all connected. So then Molly believes it, and she ends up calling the police to report Carl. While they're waiting, Oda Mae allows Sam to possess her so that he could hold Molly one last time. And this scene was like so...
Dude.
I mean, I love the pottery scene. That's my most memorable. But this, I was like, it's such a sweet moment, and it's funny to think that it's Oda Mae.
It's Oda Mae. That's what apparently, when they were test screening it, people were laughing because they were realizing it's technically Oda Mae.
Yeah.
But regardless, this is when already, like, I had been tearing up a couple times throughout, but this is when it was a steady stream.
No, because
sniffling,
because they do a good job with it. It's first you see her hands, and then it pans and it's Patrick Swayze there, and it's really such a sweet moment, and it's so upsetting. It's
just the last time they'll hold each other.
Yeah. So then Carl ends up showing up to the house, and Sam gets booted out of Oda Mae's body, and he's really weak at this point. So if you possess someone, you're gonna weaken state, and this unfortunately makes him unable to help when Carl breaks into the apartment to try and get to Molly and Oda Mae. So they both flee through the fire escape, trying to get to the next floor. And then Carl manages to take Molly hostage and demands the money from Sam. And at this point, Sam recovers in time to attack him. Carl's panicking. He's swinging around because he can't see Sam, obviously. And he ends up trying to go out the window and hits the glass pane at the top, and it fucking impales him. It's graphic, a little bit graphic. It's like, my god. Yes, exactly. I was like, oh my god, Jesus. So then, of course, the shadowy, fucking horrifying creatures take Carl away.
Yep.
So he's dead.
Yeah.
So then, goodbye, bitch. We won't be missed. So then Sam checks on Molly and Oda Mae, and the beam of light returns, and it allows him to both see and hear Sam. And so he thanks Oda Mae, and then he shares a kiss with Molly, and he finally tells her that he loves her, and she says ditto. And I'm like, oh, but he waits till he's dead, right, to say I love you. Like, what a typical man move.
Mean, lame. But this did start off, apparently women after this loved that line, the ditto line, and would come up to Patrick Swayze and ask him to say ditto to them.
I'd ask him to say anything to me.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, baby. So then Sam walks into the light. Yeah. Movie's done. It's you see Demi, like her big eyes crying. Yep. Sad. And I'm like, stop it. You're making me sad.
And then the meatballs come up on the screen. And you're like, and you're like, what the hell?
You know, it's kind of nice of Pluto, right? They're trying to make you laugh, trying to pull you back, rein you in. I'm just trying to help you out, so that's very nice of them to give you a meatball commercial.
Thanks, Pluto. You're the best.
Love you so much. Oh god. Okay. So that's the movie, and I feel like I talked a lot already about everything I wanted to talk to.
Okay, there's still so much to say, but let me pull up a couple of my notes. I've definitely quite a few fun facts, and just, I think we have a lot to talk about once we get into breaking down your feelings on the movie itself.
True.
So something that you didn't mention was that she proposes to him, essentially, on their walk back from Macbeth, which is when we learn that he never says I love you, and he's very surprised that she wants to marry him, and he's like, oh, well, you just never talk about that kind of stuff, and she's like, you never say I love you, and then they're having this moment, and then right after that he gets freaking murdered. So lame. And it's, it's just I feel like it's a normal kind of disagreement, sort of understanding and trying to communicate. That could happen to anybody, and then it's a very blasé kind of thing, and then all of a sudden he's just like fighting for his life. Yeah.
Can you imagine though? Oh my god.
No.
You like propose and then
then he's dead. Guess that's not happening.
That's what that's what happens when you propose to a man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
death. Don't do it, ladies.
It's a shame. And so something that's interesting is they went and saw the play, Macbeth. Sorry, it took me a second. Essentially, Macbeth inspired the play in some ways because the director, the writer, whoever it was, sorry, this is how good my notes are, decided that it would be really cool to have a movie from the ghost perspective of, the perspective of a dead person.
Yeah.
And in Macbeth, the character plans his friend's murder and is then haunted by the ghost of that friend. And in a lot of ways, Macbeth is Carl, and
I didn't even think
Sam
about
is
that.
the killed friend. Yeah, which is pretty cool. I mean, not great, but for him, pretty cool. We also didn't really talk about the deaths themselves, because I felt like this was a little problematic. The concepts of right and wrong was very black and white, which is 90s for you. I mean, I get it. It's 1990. They're like, you do bad things, you go to hell. You do good things, you go to heaven.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And Sam's character technically caused 2 deaths.
It's Patrick Swayze, though.
I know it's Swayze, and I know they weren't like good guys or whatever, but there's not a single, point of concern about that at all. He chases Willie so bad. Now, Willie did murder him accidentally. Like, it was an accidental murder, and he didn't really seem sad about it. So they definitely made Willie out to be a bad guy. But essentially, he scared Willie so bad by haunting him that he ran in front of a car and gets smushed between 2 vehicles. But what we're not looking at here is not just the fact that Willie died in a really tragic way, but the fact that now these 2 people for the rest of their lives will know that they killed a man who ran in front of their cars. And they don't know he's a bad guy who kills somebody. They just know he's a man that they killed. So they're going to live with that guilt and maybe get in trouble for manslaughter.
Yeah. And also, the demons might take him too.
Yeah. Yeah. What if the demon ends up taking them later?
We don't know. We don't know what qualifies as
being taken by a demon.
Yeah, or going to
apparently
the heaven's light.
Right. You are a ghost and you commit a murder in your afterlife. Apparently, if it's revenge, you're fine. So we do know that. But everything else, it's like, there's no gray area. And then they did not give any redemption arc to Carl or anything, because they could have shown him as being remorseful. He could have been a guy who was like, why did this
They could have made him a lot more likable.
Yeah.
Because it could have been a thing where he needed the money desperately, and he works at a bank. He's like, I can get this money. Yep. He accidentally gets his friend killed. He feels really bad about it. Yep. And they could have really done more with that. And I do feel like a lot of the characters aren't... I feel like Oda Mae is one of the most well-fleshed characters. Yes. Yeah, whereas Carl and Molly are just like, they're just people in Sam's lives. And it's like, we could have really had more...
a little bit more well-rounded. Yes. And I think that if this movie was made today, that would be probably done a little bit better. I think it was a little bit a product of the time. Also the CGI and all that kind of stuff.
Dude, some of the green screen was rough.
It was really bad. It was real bad. And dude, the amount of times that Swayze's just swinging his arms to hit shit.
He's like punching shit.
It's like, it's really just feels like in a video game when you're smashing the button to attack. And it's just...
He really put his all into those swings.
He did. He really did. Do you want more fun facts or...
Yeah, I'll take more fun facts.
Okay. So a lot of these fun facts come from our favorite IMDb, so it's grain of salt, yada yada. Apparently, Patrick Swayze said that Sam Wheat was the hardest role he ever played in his career because he was the observer in an action and not the participant. He also said the Pottery Scene was one of the sexiest things he'd ever done on film, which, not surprising.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean,
we are aware. So some of these ones that I'm about to tell you are going to be confirmed because People Magazine wrote about it and cited their sources.
Oh, okay.
So we talked last week or 2 weeks ago or something about, it was 2 weeks ago, about remaking films that were, foreign films. But however, there was a Japanese remake of this movie.
Oh, really?
Where it was gender flipped. In 2010, it's called Ghost in Your Arms Again. And The wife tries to reunite with her husband from beyond, and there is apparently a pottery scene in it, so
Ooh.
might have
Is
to
it
watch
good?
it. I have no idea. I didn't
Okay.
watch it. I'm not as good as you are. I did my notes today. I didn't have time to watch the movie. So apparently the guy who was the bad guy, Carl,
Yeah.
he told the AV Club, which I don't know what that is, a magazine maybe, in 2014 that he was at this restaurant and this waitress would not take his order. She kept giving him these horrible glares or whatever. And finally she comes up to him and asks him if he's an actor. And he said, yeah. And it said where he was from. And she was like, I knew I hated you, but I couldn't figure out why.
Oh my god.
She like couldn't remember where his face was from. So she's just like, this is a bad person. I'm like, oh my god.
That's, first of all, as a waitress.
Right, not
in
gonna
that
get
career.
any
yeah.
tips that way.
Horrible.
Yeah. So at the time, Bruce Willis was married to Demi Moore and was offered the role, and he just didn't think the movie was going to go anywhere and turned it down. And he
I can't imagine Bruce in that role.
No. There's
Hell
a lot
no.
of people that they've quoted as saying we're up for the role, and I'm like, no. But he said, quote, I just didn't get it. I said, hey, the guy's dead. How are you going to have a romance? Famous last words. And then, ironically, he played a similar role in Sixth Sense, which I also haven't seen.
Yes, I know. I give
Yeah.
it to you. Just not sure when.
Yeah. The acting in the movie for Swayze was actually really challenging because it kept bringing back the memory of his father's death. And it's why he was able to get really in his emotions, but sometimes it took him into this kind of scary space for himself where he was struggling emotionally dealing with that.
Yeah.
And yes, so it is confirmed by People magazine that Swayze called the Pottery Scene, quote, the sweetest, sexiest love scene that I've ever been involved with. Aw, we love you, Swayze.
Listen, that scene is very iconic. You know, obviously there's a ton of sex scenes or whatever, but that is top quality shit.
Top tier.
Creativity. Who thought of that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, someone had to think of it.
Someone had to think. Some freak was like, you know what? Be cool. Someone read some Wattpad.
Yes.
Fan fiction.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, this would be sick. This would hear me out.
Hey. Love those out there ideas. You know, it's how we get these sorts of things going.
It's how it stays a classic, which I would consider this movie a classic. Classic romance. It is. You know, it's really it's got a lot of good stuff in it, and I do really like the movie. I do. And I had a very hard time rating it, to be honest, because I wasn't sure how to rate it. Yeah. So I'm like, part of me was a little not bored, but I was like, I think it was the length. I think it was too long for me. I feel like there was a lot of repetitive type of stuff with Oda Mae trying to convince Molly, and it's just a lot of similar scenes that I felt like didn't need to be there.
I understand that.
Yeah, and then, you know, the lack of personality for Molly and for Carl, his reasoning was pretty weak. And, you know, he's not the main character, but for Molly, you know, it's a romance. You want both characters to have a, you know, feel for both characters. And so I ended up giving it a 3.9, which is still good.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting you to go in the 3s, I'll be honest.
Really?
So I thought it was going to be 4s until we started talking today. And then I was like, it's not going to be.
Before watching, definitely the 4s. And then rewatching it, I really was like, should I give it a 4 point something? I'm like, I don't know. And I do think it's a classic, but there were some things that I wish wasn't as cheesy. Some of the chase scenes and the action scenes were really cheesy, and it could just be a 90s thing, but I'm also like, I don't know. I think it could have just been done better. Maybe the music.
Yeah.
But
I think that there's definitely room for improvement.
Yeah.
In that. I don't know that I would have given it. I was going back and forth too. I was like, okay, what would I rate it?
Yeah.
I was like, would I give it a 5? I was sobbing a lot. I got a migraine today because of how much I cried yesterday over this movie. To the point where yesterday I stopped crying and Charles was like, yeah, it's a really sad movie. You know, she's just alone in the end. And I just start crying again. Like,
she is alone.
Yeah, she's alone. Like, there she goes.
Their
her
cat,
love
I
is
guess.
gone. Yeah, she does have her cat. And so I was going back and forth, and I was like, part of me wants to give it a 5, but at the same time, I don't really. I think there were things that could have been done better. I would probably say I would range it between. I was like, is it 4.75 or 4.5? I think I would probably go 4.75. For me, it's definitely elevated and really and high up there. I think there are things that could have definitely been done better, but for what it was, I think I
mean, it's a very creative concept. Yeah. I think it's a really cool idea, and there's moments that you just remember, you know, and I think that's very iconic of them. Yeah. So, but I was thinking, I'm like, man, I feel like if Whoopi Goldberg really didn't have that charm for Oda Mae's character, it would have not been as good, because I do feel like
there was a lot of things with Oda Mae's character too that they changed. They were originally not going to have her be a charlatan, and then they decided to have her be a charlatan, which makes it way funnier. Yeah. And then they were going to have her die originally. Oh, no. In the movie. Could you imagine?
Oh my
way
God.
Less fun.
No. And I just loved her banter with Sam's character. Yes. I think they were just... And I almost feel like they had more chemistry than he did with Molly, but I think that's because Molly just really didn't have... She was just a one-dimensional character, unfortunately.
Yeah, she was. I do feel like they could have built up their love a little bit more. It could have been even stronger. It was nice what we saw of it, but it didn't give like lifelong bond sort of.
Yeah.
You know, and I think your life.
Yeah, I think part of it is because he never really in the movie was expressing how much he loved her and all this stuff. He was kind of closed in. So I think if there was a lot more of that coming from him as well, I think it would have been a lot more. Yeah. You would have seen more of their romance. But, you know, they were all touchy-feely and stuff and super cute and all that jazz. But it is what it is. And I skipped ahead, but obviously I'm going to smash multiple characters.
I was, for a second I thought you meant you fast forward in the movie. No. And I was like, wait a minute.
Skip ahead in my review.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm smashing both.
Yeah. Oh.
Obviously. Side character, Carl. No. Maybe if he wasn't a sweaty little man.
Listen. When opening scene when they are smashing down the wall, and I saw him without his shirt on, I was like, ah.
I thought he was Swayze for a second. I was like, oh,
yes,
trick
same.
Me.
And then I was like, oh, okay, hello.
Yeah.
And he has like more hair on his chest than Swayze does, which was shocking, but whatever.
Love it.
Yeah, here for it.
Yeah.
Then he turned into be a skis ball, and it's like, never mind.
Right. If he stayed a good friend, even if the murder, you know, he was like it was accidental and stuff.
Yeah. If
I would change
remorse,
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like if he had been a well-rounded character instead of just being a bad guy, but apparently he didn't have any remorse or whatever.
Nope. Nothing good going for him, so it's a pass. Fall in Love. This is controversial. I said 6.
Okay.
Only because if Sam wasn't really giving me much with I loved yous and stuff, I would feel a little conflicted. And his death, I would be sad, but I'd move on because I'd be like, well, you know what? Maybe the universe did me a job. Help me out here. Maybe he was going to cheat on me and leave me later.
Ma'am, you're going to jail. Goodbye.
Listen, we know now Sam's a good man, but think of it in, you know, you're by yourself, New York. She's probably supported mostly by him. We don't know anything about her family or anything. And, you know, I just wouldn't feel confident. It's like, I just wouldn't. It's
all right, whatever. I mean,
if he just says ditto, she was literally like, I love you so much, intimate in bed. He's just like, ditto.
No, I mean, I agree with you. That wasn't great of him, but
it's a 6. So
hey, whatever.
Physically fall in love, 10. Emotionally,
obviously
6. But it's still more than half. You know, I'd probably most likely, but
whatever.
It's fine. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, it's fun. Even if you're not into romance, I think there's a
lot
more.
I was having so much fun yesterday watching.
So sorry for it's not all fun, but it's good. It's I think a well-rounded movie with a lot of things in it. It's not just
it'll be another 15 years before I watch this one again, I think.
Yeah. And everyone's got to watch the Pottery Scene at least once in their life, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta.
Great scene.
I
mean, I've seen it innumerable times by this point. Just, you know, the memes, the references, all that.
Right.
It's everywhere.
Oh, all right. this is... Yep, you already said what you would recommend it, and I think we are towards the end where I give you your next movie, which I am excited for. Are you excited?
Yes.
I was torn between two. I might give you the other one next time, but
okay. I just feel like I wrecked myself for this past week, so I don't know. How can it get worse? I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out. So the movie I'm giving you is called The Babadook. You ever heard of it?
Oh, The Babadook! I've wanted to watch it because I've seen so much about it, and a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend did a parody of it. So I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's well known. Babadook is a gay icon, if you didn't know.
Yes. Yeah.
And it is spooky. It does have some jump scares. It's spooky, but I really enjoyed it. It's well rated. I think it's a good movie. I think you'll like it. I think it'll spook you a little bit, but it's nothing like no graphic, gross things. It's just, spooky stuff.
Okay.
So the movie is about pretty simple. Single mother Amelia is struggling after the violent death of her husband while also trying to care of their young child named Sam. Sam then starts fearing a monster lurking in the house called the Babadook, which Amelia soon discovers may not just be a fictional monster in a storybook. So,
okay. Literally all I know about Babadook is the name Babadook. Yeah. I've heard about it, and I've known that I need to watch it to understand culture, but that's all I knew. So now I know he's a monster.
It's important for culture. There's a meme, I'm sure you know from this. I'm sure you'll spot it. It cracks me up every time I see it. And you can watch on Netflix. It is a Netflix
thank goodness.
Original. And also Pluto.
No. Goodbye, Pluto.
Hey, at least Pluto's free. All right.
I appreciate it. I appreciate Pluto, and I'm not gonna put them down because they're free. But the amount of meatball commercials I saw in the middle of various moments of tears was unreasonable.
So hopefully no more meatball commercials. Even though Netflix now has ads if you don't pay enough, scumbags.
Bro, what the heck?
It's like, how are you gonna pay for ads, you piece of shit? But I guess Hulu's been like that. Fuckers.
Dude, I'm so tired of capitalism.
Oh, heard that.
Yeah.
Heard that. All right.
Okay.
Take us out.
Alrighty. Thanks for listening to How Do You Watch This? You can find us on Instagram at How Do You Watch This and TikTok at How Do You Watch, or email us at howdoyouwatchthis@gmail.com. If you like the show, support us by giving a review or recommending to a friend. Thanks. We like you. We love you.
We could love you.
We could love you. We could love you. Maybe 6 out of 10?
Maybe. Not enough for a pottery scene, I'll tell you that much. We could get there, though.